Greetings from Bulgaria. I'm Volk, and this video is tasked to cover all of the developer stream from 30th of September that Eric Musko hosted. The stream was about changes and introductions to new things and a little bit of a demo gameplay from Knights of the Fallen Empire, the newest expansion. What I will be doing is showing you more or less a random video from the stream as a background, and I will be covering everything from my notes. Everything is available on my article on my website, obviously. I will just rereading my notes, and I will be showing you where appropriate and where needed specific screenshots where I need to explain more things about what Musko said. There were quite a lot of new things shown and introduced, as well as million more things left untold and promised to be answered with an upcoming blog or blogs for the next days and weeks prior to the release of the expansion. In case you don't know, the expansion will be free to subscribers. Let's go over the stream notes. It was more or less exactly 2 hours. And now it's time for a recap. The introduction by Eric Musko. He was hosting the event, and Tite and Nick were in the chat just dealing with spam and answering questions. The stream, for a change, had a cool new background, and Musko was sitting in front of what appeared to be the Eternal Throne. Also, today, the 30th of September is or was the last day when players were able to get access to Nico Okar's Duster coat, you know, the cool chest piece that this legendary gunslinger is wearing. It was part of the summer promotion BioWare was using to trick or provoke players to subscribe during the summer. In the first roughly 40 to 50 minutes from the start of the stream, Musko showed us exactly the same gameplay from the beginning of Chapter 1, not the whole Chapter 1, until the very important decision where we hear the epic line, "Will you kneel?" It's not exactly like this, but I will not talk about spoilers. There is one major spoiler listed in my article, but it is very clearly marked, so it's absolutely easy for you to skip if you don't want to read what happened during that gameplay. So let's start. Musko did a bit of a Chapter 1 live gameplay demo, similar to what BioWare did on TwitchCon, actually exactly the same. The demo gameplay lasted for about 40 to 50 minutes from the start of the stream. The real gameplay was more or less maybe half an hour to 35 minutes. He started the demo with creating a fresh level 60 character and played through the same part of Chapter 1, starting with character creation. Difference was that Musko was talking a lot more about different specific details here and there, more suitable for veterans and active players, compared to the new player friendly dialogue from TwitchCon when we had different kinds of streamers appearing as guests. Musko made the bounty hunter mercenary and skipped all the origin story in the game, jumping right into the Fallen Empire. The character had only one class buff and no Steam. But it didn't prevent him from just one-shotting, two-shotting everything. If you are an experienced player, you can use the advanced option in the character creation menu to the bottom right corner, if I believe it was. There is a recommended discipline spec for all classes. And that advanced mod allows you to pick whatever discipline you prefer. Apparently the default character creation doesn't allow you that choice. I don't know why BioWare decided this would be good, but I hope they change it sooner or later. It's not appropriate, even for newer player. After the creation, the introduction, the creation and the introduction, the sacrifice trailer began, and after that, the player is thrown right into the action. Yes, we had to watch the trailer one more time, but it's still an awesome trailer, so I didn't mind. The stream was on very low bitrate and resolution, very friendly for all kinds of internet connections, but incredibly hard to pick on details on the screen. Eric wasn't certain, but the new cap for characters per server, that is number of characters, will be raised to 40 or 50. More likely 40, because it's the number that has been rumored around for ages now. Musko's main character, kind of a main character, he answered the question from the chat, is a mercenary arsenal spec. This was a question from a fan. When you create a fresh level 60, you receive new Bound to Legacy Blue Gear set with an exception of the 2 relics. This is supposed to help the player jump straight into the action because you know playing naked is no fun. The top stat is now called Mastery. We knew that for a long time now, but it's official. And I had to mention it here and in the article as well. It is officially that the new stat for all classes will be called Mastery. No more aim, willpower, strength, cunning. Crit is also received a massive change. Surge doesn't exist as a standalone stat now. It has been accumulated by crit, and its bonuses are also moved to the crit stat. As a result of that, many mods have been changed or just plainly deleted, removed from the game because of that balancing. The reason is streamlining, of course. BioWare wants new players to feel more welcomed and not completely lost when they see a huge amount of different mods available for them to buy while leveling especially. That is why the whole Chapter 1, according to Musco and the BioWare team, is in the form of an introduction with multiple tutorials popping up all the time. As we already saw on TwitchCon, small design changes have been made to the cutscenes user interface. Disciplines, as explained in my videos previously and the developer blogs from the past weeks, have been altered a little bit. The design of the windows is exactly the same, but on the right side the utilities have multiplied in numbers because we have one new utility added for each tier and each advanced class. You do not need to complete old content to jump to Fallen Empire. Once you start the expansion, you will not be able to turn back and finish your primary class story, as well as Shadow of Raven, that is Rishi and Yavin 4, and the Ziost storyline. However, you will still be able to access and do the daily quests in these areas and planets. There is no official cost for the fresh level 60 character token. At this moment, its price is still undecided. The Fallen Empire story for higher level character, not the fresh one, begins on the fleet. Musco confirmed once again that chapters from 1 to 9 will be available on the 20th for the early access or the 27th of October for the normal access. The rest will be released periodically throughout 2016. Unfortunately, he refused to mention a more exact time schedule. As a fresh new level 60, BioWare will give you automatically 3 crew skills they believe are default or best suitable for the class you're choosing. More crafting changes later on in the stream and in my notes. Darkmar is your first active companion in Chapter 1. His mask still doesn't go off, so you can't see what is beneath it. He's a healer by default, but you can change his active role to tank or DPS, as I've explained in my previous videos and posts already. Via a right click on his avatar, there is a new mini menu that appears. His active role is going to be displayed as a small icon on the lower left of the companion avatar, so you will always know what kind of role your companion is performing. However, while in combat, you cannot change the companion's role, which means you can't turn Mar from a healer into a tank if you have aggro from someone or something. In 4.0, you can dictate the appearance of your companion, but the gear stats will not matter for them. Companion strength and abilities grow with the character's level. The power of companion also depends on the character's influence. It remained old affection stat, but there is also a little bit more to that. I will explain a little bit later. The companion's original gear will not be available at launch of the Fallen Empire, but the team is aware of the player's wish and wants to add this later on. What I mean by this is the gear, the green gear that every companion comes with when they join you during the class story missions on the origin worlds. And this is where the demo ended. It, as I mentioned, took about 40 to 50 minutes. More important changes to the main character window. On the left side, BioWare is now following or tracking the number of class stories that you have completed. If you do all of the 8 stories, you can get a legendary status and some kind of rewards. It wasn't very clear what he meant by rewards, so my apologies, I won't be more specific on this yet. This legendary status is only granted if you have completed the original story of the game regardless of your level, which means you need to defeat the main bosses in each class story after Corellia. You know what I mean. You can be level 50, 55, 53, whatever you prefer. You have to kill them to get those statuses. So this is a cool incentive to go back and do the origins of the game. Later on, Musco switched to a level 17 Jedi Guardian and showed his new Ak-Dok companion pet. It looks like a mini version of the trash mobs from EV right before the second boss, you know, the ones in the red caves, the ones that you like to, the three groups that we like to pull together and mash like mad. It's not the real companion in the sense that it cannot be sent to sell your inventory trash like T7, for example. User interface editor changes. The designers finally added a grid to the UI editor. Until now, I was recommending to everybody who asked me to use Clovis Grid, a nice tool available for download for free from SWTOR4.0, the website for user interfaces for our game. What this allows you to do is arrange UI elements by snapping them to the grid. Next change is about keybinds. I've mentioned that earlier. It's official now. Keybinds Transfer 2. You are now allowed to export and even share your personal keybinds with other players, or obviously transfer them between your players. News about new tool called temporary toolbars. Temporary ability bars, they will pop up when needed. Example given was with the Hudbo ability, because you only need it in specific situations. You will not have to waste a slot on your normal toolbars. This could be probably very helpful to free-to-play players because they are very restricted in terms of number of free slots available. There have been changes to the heroic moment. A very good example was given during the stream. It has a 10-minute cooldown and heals you for 2% of your HP per tick. It pops a new temporary toolbar with all of the legacy abilities that you can use twice before they go away. Remember that, just like before, all of these special abilities are only available during heroic moment only. The change is that you can use them twice, each one of them. Companion user interface. Example was given with T7 because he's a droid and a special kind of companion. T7 has no armor slots anymore because they are unique. He is a droid. The droids can still use weapons and customization slots though. Normal and old classic companions have armor slots, but again they're only for outfit and design looks, because the stats on the gear don't impact the companion's power anymore. Musco gave an example with Mako, the bounty hunter companion. She also has customization option available as before. Big changes to crafting. Unfortunately, Musco didn't explain that perfectly, but let's see what I can grasp from this. No new cap, the limit is still 500. There will be no more new tiers. Crafting window looks exactly the same as before, minor default changes inside the orders of the categories of items available to craft. You always start the lists with the blue quality items. New things to craft called bonded attachments. They're required to craft better items and they're kind of an ingredient. Augments are now separated in 8 tiers, no more 10 tiers and 11 and 12 and so on, from 1 to 8 only. Simplification, I suppose. All crew skills now have 8 grades. I hope that right now you will be seeing a screenshot about that to make it more clear what this means. If not, just visit my post on the website and there will be a screenshot there. Old recipes are going into an archived section because BioWare considers them not relevant anymore for some reason, and they want to streamline the appearance of the crafting window. For some reason they believe that's a good change. I'm not really sure. So if you want to use one of your old recipes that you've learned 2 or 3 years ago, it will still be available for you specifically in those archived sections, because maybe you want to dress up your companions to look like the, I don't know, one of the old crew, one of the old gear sets, for example, the PvP tier 70 sets. I remember they are not available anymore in the game, but some can still craft them. Gathering. The higher the crew skill, caps is still 500, the more materials you will be able to get from low grade gathering skills. So remember, the gathering skills are now separated into 8 grades. There are no level requirements, or at least they haven't been, they didn't list them in the user interface that Musco was using to play on the test server. But what they did is, the higher your tier is with the current crew skill, gathering or mission or anything else, the lower tier, the lower grade crew skill you're performing, the better results you have. This means if you're capped at 500 already, but you need grade 1 crafting materials, you will get a lot more in numbers from the same missions compared to what you would get when you begin crafting and you have only grade 1 available. Missions, all of them are available per every grade now. No need to wait for the good ones to spawn anymore. You can send your companions to missions freely now. Because we know, for example, let's say that the biochem needed some specific missions, crafting materials that were primarily given, or at least had a better chance to be granted to the player from some specific missions only. And we waited for those missions to spawn. If you have old crafting materials, that will be removed because a lot of crafting materials will be removed in the new expansion. The same materials will be converted into usable materials. This will be either done automatically or maybe via a vendor exchange. Musco wasn't sure which one it will be. Changes to group finder, toolbars, maps, and inventory. New design to the group finder finally. New way to sign up for flashpoints and operations. We have to check back, Musco said, the old blogs for flashpoints and operation changes, because what he meant is many of the operations and flashpoints have been rescaled and they're available to different levels now. They're also available for solo mode and so on. Inventory and com changes, as mentioned in the video and the developer blog, only renames in my video, that is. I've mentioned it, I believe, in update 5 of my Fallen Empire coverage. So the commendations remain the same. They've only changed the appearance and the names, but nothing is lost, nothing is transferred or converted. There will be no more weekly cap on commendations. There is, however, still a global cap of the number of commendations per tier that you can own. Now you can right click and whisper to people inside guild windows. Woohoo! Finally! The legacy datacrons are here. As rumored, they made it into 4.0. You can now track all of them which have been earned already, and including the fleet one. Musco was 99% sure that the datacrons will be retroactive, meaning we will not have to jump like mad for the same datacrons we have done already years ago. You know that I'm a terrible platformer and a bad jumper, so I would be very glad if they don't force me to do all of the, what was it, 60 something datacrons. Speeder piloting changes. Lowest is now level 1. You can have a speeder piloting tier 1 or rank 1 at level 1, provided you have legacy level 2, which is actually quite easy to earn even as a new player. Obviously you won't be able to get it at level 1 because level 2 legacy equals to, I don't remember, maybe level 10, 15 character level. 2 new abilities completely free to everybody available from the legacy window. They are available from day 1 when Fallen Empire launches, and they're called Summon Random Pet and Summon Random Mount. We knew about these coming, now they are confirmed. The icons look like a bluish smoked shadows of a pet or a speeder with a big white question mark in the middle. BioWare finally made an attempt to fix the amount clipping of armor sets, mainly the capes of our characters. They said they haven't finished it with all of the mounts yet, but most of them are properly working now, and whenever you mount something, your cape will not go through the steel of the mount. There are new icons for different types of missions that are available on the map and on the minimap. This is why during the demo of chapter 1 we saw the story quest in purple color and with a different icon marker. Main planetary missions, main class missions, and heroics have their icons changed to make them easier to recognize. What you need to play to get from level 1 to 50, the normal way in Fallen Empire, is class missions and the main planetary missions. That was, I guess, the reason why BioWare changed the appearance of the icons, so we can easily distinguish which missions we need to complete, because I guess they've reverted and altered the experience gain from those missions, giving you more experience so you're not forced to do the side missions to level up. In the Group Finder, every day there will be a new operation. The window shows you duration until the reset and what the next story mode operation will be available tomorrow. The level range for these ops is level 50 to 65, and I guess we will be saying a welcome back to the bolster system for PvE now. For the Fallen Empire story, it will always display in the top right corner the current latest chapter that you're on, and you can jump straight to it via the new play button next to the quest in the tracker. Changes to collections. First of all, everything in categories is now collapsed. Woohoo! I suppose that's positive, even though the plus sign is still very small and annoyingly hard to click. New tracker indicator in the top right is telling you how many of the items in this specific category you own. There is search and filter options available for the collections. About time. No need to switch characters anymore to unlock things from collections. You can do that from any character, provided you are willing to pay the specific amount of cartel coins. Event vendors on the fleet. This is where my internet hicked up and I wasn't able to see where exactly this area is, but I know it's somewhere on the fleet. All event vendors are now in the same section on the fleet. Very easy to reach. You don't have to walk to Ilum, for example, if you want to trade with the Grey, or to Narshada if you want to trade with Thorn, the Ragu event. One special new vendor to help you get all the rewards that have been removed from the game has been introduced in the same very area. There is a big selection of rewards on that vendor, and they're all tradable for various event tokens. The original containment gear from the very first Ragu event on Tatooine is now available on this vendor. Finally, I've been waiting for over 3.5 years to finish it, because that gear, if you remember, if you're amongst the few people who still play from day one, you might remember that they were launching one new quest every day of the week during the event, and each quest gave you a different part of that armor set, and unfortunately I've missed the first 2 or 3, not really sure. So, level scaling down and heroic mission changes. New window and design for all heroics available to you in the week is available. Left side of that window is the quests and their titles. The right side is for the description and the reward. The log boxes BioWare is rewarding you with, you have to choose one box or another. There are different kinds of boxes available, but you can't get all of them. They contain your current level reward now, making these boxes, in theory at least, useful. There's gonna be level syncing, as mentioned already. When doing a lower level quest on the user interface, you will be notified that your current level is downgraded to the same level that the quest is. You will not lose abilities or utilities, but their powers will be lowered. Simply put, you will not be able to one-shot the gold mob while doing Friends of Old Heroic 2 on Dromunkas, the example Musku gave us during the stream. This should give the casual player a lot more activities, more quests to farm, and more ways to obtain commendations, gear, money, and God knows what else. Once more, no abilities will be removed, but they will just be reverted to do less damage or eventually less heals if you're a healer. Although I don't know why a healer would want to solo. The experience will still be relevant, meaning you will earn decent amount of experience by doing these old quests while your level is downscaled. So that's another nice and cool trick. If you missed heroics years ago because you couldn't find people to do them with, you can experience them solo now. In the very end of the stream, Musku said a few words about the performance changes developers included with patch 3.3.2, which was a week ago compared to the day of recording this video, he explained what anti-aliasing is and how it was reworked and changed. But since I covered that in my performance test 1 and 2, I don't think I should repeat it again. Just go and watch my videos, please. BioWare, Musco quickly mentioned that the next appearance by BioWare will be in New York for the Comic-Con. That's where they will have a 4-hour-long cantina. In the very end, a quick and brief Q&A section. I've streamlined the question and the answers because it was really getting late, so please forgive me if I've missed something. If you were on the stream and if you think I've missed something important, feel free to add it in the comments down below. First question, why is the stream quality so low? Due to the tech difficulties, they have lowered everything significantly, both the stream settings and the in-game settings, funny. What about PvP? Well, BioWare considers the new abilities and balancing to be new stuff for the PvPers. They have admitted that they have no plans for the near future to introduce new playable areas, which means new war zones. Is the 12x going away? Yes. In Fallen Empire, it will be replaced with the so-called class quest plus main planets, because they're buffing the XP gained from the main class quest and the main planetary quests. The 12x will be removed, and if you want to, you can still do the side missions, but you will be over-leveled in a moment, I suppose. Experience from exploration missions was another question. Yes, they may not be a part of the main story anymore, but you will still get decent experience if you want to complete those missions. Legacy storage for currency. As of now, there is no such thing as a legacy wallet, and possibly not something like that will not appear in the near future, but they are thinking about it. Influence, as we know, this is the new stat. It is what affection used to be before. It's just a rename, but also influence, the new name of affection, boosts companion powers. So it doesn't, affection, if you remember, affection used to boost the results from the crew skills, missions and gathering and search for your companions. But influence now also boosts the power, the strength of your companions. So they perform better and they're more useful in combat. How about open world PvP? No plans. All will remain as it is now. No plans for new specific open PvP world events, similar to the Ilum one, I suppose, was the question. Are legacy datacrons retroactive? Yes, I've covered that already. Musco is 99% sure, but he promised to confirm that in a forum post later on. If there is such a forum post in the following days, I will definitely notify you about it on my website. Is the new story solo or can we group up? Much like the story is now, you can team up, but you will be leading the choices for your class and your area. The rest of the players will be just spectators. And that is it. The stream lasted exactly 2 hours, and Musco again split the second on the 128th minute. Thank you very much for enjoying this overview. I think I went way too long, but there were a lot of details I wanted to cover and I considered important. For more screenshots, more information, and everything I've just told you in the written form, please visit my blog post with all of my notes. If you couldn't understand anything because of my accent or because of my crappy voice, I am ill at the moment. My apologies. I'm really having issues speaking, but I, as always, wanted to have that right on the spot as soon as possible. By the way, if you haven't seen already, I have a full recording of the 2 hours live stream published on my YouTube channel in case you have way too much free time and you want to watch or rewatch that again. Thank you guys. See you with the next video. Bye bye. Remember, you can find me also on Twitch, Twitter and Facebook.